Welcome to the Sandro channel. Make sure that you subscribe.
Hi folks, Sandro here with more cartoon news and shenanigans, and today I'm going to be talking about Unicorn Warriors Eternal, folks. This is the show we've been waiting for. Last year I made a top 5 list of the most anticipated cartoons for 2023. This was like my number 2 or 3 on there. I was really hyped for like Invincible and Batman Cape Crusader. I can't wait for Batman Cape Crusader. I hope that one ends up being really, really good because I'm a Batman fan and I love those shows back in the day. Like, Batman the Animated Series and even some of the wackier ones where, they did like, what was it? Batman Brave and the Bold on Cartoon Network. Like even shows like that, I still enjoy them. Like I'm just a really big Batman fan. Batman the Anime. There was a bunch of series that were just called like The Batman or Batman or something like that. And then of course there was also what was it? Batman Beyond, right? Batman Beyond with Terry McGinnis in the future. There was so many Batman shows. I'm really hyped for Batman Cape Crusader, but this was one of my most hyped ones. And I have now watched the first 2 episodes. At the time of this recording, it's like May 8th. So we only have 2 episodes. There's 2 episodes. And here's the really cool thing, folks. The very first episode is actually available on Adult Swim's YouTube channel. It's right here. You can see I actually watched it on YouTube. The second episode, you might have to look elsewhere, of course, or you might have to get a subscription to HBO Max. But yes, the second episode does exist. It's just not, I don't think it's on Adult Swim. Actually, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it wasn't uploaded. No. Only the first one. We only got the very first episode here. But there is a second one. I'm going to briefly talk about the episodes. They were both good. Did the show live up to expectations? Yes, it did. I really enjoyed the show. I'm right off the gate. Like we're only 2 episodes in. I'm already giving this like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. There was some of the stuff with the animation. I felt like the animation is good for the most part. There's just certain scenes where like it looks a little repetitive or a little choppy where they used a couple frames of the same animation. They use a bunch of the same shots. So our main character, I can't remember the names actually. My bad. I forgot the names already, but this character here, was her name Beatrice? I can't remember. But her, she had like a sort of fiance, and they used the same look of him, like looking surprised, like 4 times. Like they used it a bunch, right? So they definitely had to do a couple of shortcuts for the animation here and there, a couple of reused, imagery. It's par for the course. It's Genndy Tartakovsky. We've seen him do this sort of thing before. Did the show look as visually stunning as Samurai Jack or some of his other works like Primal? I think those shows were very, very specifically stylized in such a way where like every scene of the show looked like it had a very beautiful background. This show was not stylized in the same sort of like Genndy Tartakovsky what you're used to, you know what I mean? Like you look at any shot of Samurai Jack, it looks like a beautiful painted landscape. This show is not like that. So don't expect every image, every scene to be like a painted work of art. It just isn't like that. But the animation, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Is it the best I've ever seen? No, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. That's where I knock a little bit of points off and why I don't give this like a 10 out of 10. Also, there's only 2 episodes. I think it's kind of jumping the gun to immediately give this a 10 out of 10 after 2 episodes. So, we'll stay nice and safe at a 7 out of 10 so far for the series after 2 episodes. But it's a very interesting series. It's a little bit confusing. I could see some people watching this and getting a little bit confused. So it seems like the Warrior Unicorn Eternal, or like I guess the Warriors, I should say. They're like a generational it's kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Avatar: The Last Airbender, where it's kind of like the powers get like moved on generation to generation. And then now in Avatar, they kind of like it rotates where it's like one time it's born like somebody from that has air powers and the different tribes, like it rotates like where the Avatar is born. This show is not like, or maybe it is. Maybe there's still a lot up in the air here, but it seemed random. Like So there's this clockwork guy. His name is Copernicus. He's my favorite character on the whole show, even though he doesn't talk. mostly because we don't have a lot of characters. Like we barely got to know any of these characters, but Copernicus is the one name I do remember from this show, and he is this golden robot, from the future that has the ability to give people the warrior unicorn eternal like power and unlock it in them. One of the things I was wondering was, so he fires a laser beam at people. I was kind of wondering, like, what happened if multiple people, like, got hit by the beam? Is it only these 4 people that can transform into the unicorn warriors here? Or do we have a different situation where, like, anybody can become, if they get hit by the beam? I do wonder. I kind of wanted to see something wacky go down where, like, a kid jumped in front of the beam, or, like, something weird, like Copernicus hit a mirror and then the mirror rebounds hitting someone else and then they secretly got power. It would have been cool if something like that happened. But we never saw that. I don't think we got to see something quite like that. But yeah, it was really interesting. So there was like an original team, or it seems like there's many original teams. There could be like teams before this, but we start the series off. We see like 4. There was like a previous girl, Shadow Girl. There was a previous guy, the elf guy with the blue skin. There was a previous version of the monk. And am I forgetting one? No, it's just those 4, right? And then Copernicus. Yeah. So it's mostly just those. I think it was 4, right? The monk, the Shadow Girl, and then Copernicus and the blue elf guy. Yeah, it's just 4. I'm pretty sure. Maybe there's going to be more warriors down the seasons. I don't know. I'm assuming they're just sticking to these 4. We also get to see that cat girl. There was like a trailer for this show, and we did get to see this sort of evil cat girl with an umbrella. She was kind of in the first episode, secretly hiding her face that she's like a cat girl or whatever. And she seems to have like some kind of evil power that was able to resurrect an elephant from a graveyard. That was pretty wacky. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. That elephant doesn't come to the second episode. By the way, spoilers. I should have said spoilers a long time ago. Oopsie daisies, folks. But yeah, show was really good. So yeah, the whole gimmick was that, like, the original Warriors, Unicorn Warriors Eternal, they seem to have passed away. It could have been from old age. It could have been they died in battle. We do see like one of them get injured in battle, the previous generation, but then they say, she didn't die though, right? The Shadow Girl from the past generation, she didn't die. They just said she got like serious, or maybe she did die. I don't know. I thought like, that Merlin, Merlin of all people, like Merlin from like, the old what is it, King Arthur folklore over there. That was kind of weird. Like Merlin just kind of shows up. And I thought he said that her, she was in a damaged state, but she wasn't dead. So this leaves the question, is the original team dead, or are they displaced in time? Because we do know time travel is a thing here. Merlin seems to be able to do time travel, and so does Copernicus, I'm assuming, because they call him like a time-traveling robot in some of the descriptions I've read. Maybe it's just because he comes from the future, and I don't know if Copernicus can travel through time. I don't know. I guess we got to find out. But wait, I'm assuming he can. Wait, didn't it show him jumping around? Or no, he was buried at the beginning. Yeah. I don't know if Copernicus has time. I guess we got to, focus in harder on that and see if he has time-traveling powers. But we eventually get the whole team together. That's what the first 2 episodes are. We get the team back together. Unfortunately, she was about to get married. And this girl right here in the thumbnail, she was about to get married. She gets zapped. And she's like, I'm a different person now. I don't she doesn't necessarily love her old fiance because she's like a different being. And so that was, very sad to see. And, so we go around the block here. It was kind of a jarring jump, I gotta admit. They then go to like a distant island where there's like a weird house where, these orphans were like abandoned that used to play soccer, with her ex-fiance here. So it was like some kind of like some boarding school for men. And they used to play soccer back in the day with her ex-fiance. And I guess, they mentioned like the school was going to be shutting down soon. It seems like it's kind of weird because it was just an island with just a school. maybe they should have showed a little bit more of the island, because that was kind of weird. There's basically just a school in the middle of nowhere on an island, and it seems to have been abandoned. And but no, it's actually all the old boarding school kids are like still there, making it their house, I guess, because they have nowhere else to go. And then one of the one of the kids there, he gets zapped with the beam randomly. We aren't really exactly told why each person is chosen. I don't know if it's random. I don't know if there's a situation like, Copernicus chooses these people, because he seems to go around and then like seems to know which one, he's like, we have to go in this direction to find this boy. So it seemed like Copernicus, like, he seems to have some kind of detection system to see which people will become the next, like, unicorn warrior. So that's really interesting. These people did seem like chosen. It doesn't seem to be random necessarily, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is random. Who knows? So yeah, they choose this like little brown or black kid, and he kind of turns into a monk, right? Because the original monk guy, he had like the powers to like see into the future. They showed him in the first minute or two. So we now have our reincarnated monk. We now have the reincarnated Shadow Girl. And then the episode kind of like ends while they're on the island, but then the next episode starts and we immediately kind of like go back to England or wherever the hell. I think it's England, right? They immediately, I thought they were going to show them like, swimming, departing the island, or, I think they should have showed a little bit more of them, like, saying goodbye to the boarding school kids. They kind of just abruptly leave. And then the next episode, they're right back in England. And there's, a bit of a showman there, a little bit of a magician. And then he turns into the blue-skinned elf with the flying sword. So this is really interesting. So we have all our characters in place. We have the villain. The villain seems to be the cat girl that can resurrect dead creatures. And it's a lot of fun. It reminds me a lot of the old school stuff from the 90s and early 2000s that were like, villain of the week, right? You guys remember like Star versus the Forces of Evil. If you go back and watch Star versus the Force of Evil season 1, before they get into the story in the later seasons, mostly the episodes are just, Star fighting against Ludo. And I actually kind of like that thing, but I think they used Ludo way too much. I like it when the shows give us like a variety of wacky characters, like the Ninja Turtles, right? Every week, the Ninja Turtles would square off against, usually it was the Shredder. But there was other characters. They had other characters. They had like, whatever that Baxter or something with the fly, and the Rocksteady and Bebop. They had a whole bunch in there, right? They had a whole bunch of villains that they would go random foot soldiers, they would have a nice variety, but usually it was like the Shredder was behind shit. So yeah, they kind of tried to do that with Star Versus, then they abandoned the whole like villain of the week thing, and they went their own way, and I think the show really plummeted, as it went on, and decreased in quality. Let's hope that doesn't happen here with Unicorn Warriors Eternal. They seem to be mixing in the story and the sort of villains at a good pace, I think. And let's hope this trend continues for the whole season here. And let's hope we get more and more seasons to come. I really enjoyed the show. Right now, I'm giving it somewhere between a 7 and an 8 out of 10. I think I'm just going to settle on a 7 because it's too early into the show's life cycle. I don't want to like go too high here. But I did enjoy it. I think this lived up to expectations. The one thing I did want to mention really quickly was that I kind of wanted to see some like different powers being displayed here. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but like, my God, it seems like all of these people can do is fly. The Shadow Girl seems broken. She has like all kinds of wacky power. She was able to like, burst the shadows and create like a blast of energy using the shadow power. So she seems the most powerful. The little monk guy that can look into the future, he could fly upside down. It seems like all of them can fly. Like, Copernicus looks like he can just like put up a propeller and fly around. She could probably fly. Yeah, she did fly, right? She, in the beginning, her legs turned into like shadow flames and she was like flying around after she got transformed. So she can fly. The monk can fly. I really hope the little monk boy, has more powers. Other than seeing into the future and just flying. I hope he has like way cooler stuff. The Shadow Girl, shadow powers with flying. The elf guy, we didn't see like much of him. All we know is that he has a flying sword. Or maybe he can just fly without the sword. I don't know. But yeah, way too much flying in this show, okay? I wanted to see the elf guy do some like magic tricks or something, do something cool. I like stop with the flying, okay? Too much flying, they defeat like the mammoth by flying a sword into its like skull, and and then the shadow girl kind of like just goes crazy, and it's a huge explosion there, and actually I was surprised they actually killed people in this one. They actually said the police officers were even like, we have to uncover the rubble to check if there's any survivors. There was definitely people that died in that explosion. Holy shit. So this is a show that isn't afraid to kill people. We didn't see it on screen, of course. There was a bunch of off-screen deaths that were probably buried under the rubble. But yeah, I enjoyed the show. Great to see that Gendy Tartakovsky's back with another show here. I'm liking this one already. He's made some great shows. I did not like the ending of Samurai Jack. I've said that before. The last few episodes there were really rushed. And as for Primal, I did enjoy it. I actually reviewed the ending there. And, I was kind of sad to see Fang. Well, I don't want to spoil the whole show for you, but I already said it. So, yeah, Fang doesn't make it in the end. But, it was a good show. It was a really good show. Speaking of Primal, actually, there's Primal right there. Yeah, you guys can go watch these things. The first episode is free right here on Adult Swim. I'll put the link in the description down below if I remember. And that's that. Yeah, have a great day. Let me know what you guys think of Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I really enjoyed it. Please like, please share, please comment, please subscribe, and why not watch an ad for your boy Sandro? Peace out, bye-bye, and I look forward to talking more about Unicorn Warriors Eternal in the future. Peace out, bye-bye.